In the last episode, I shared with us on the mountain of God as an introduction, and I told us that it's important to understand the mountain of God, to know the mountain of God, and see how that affects life and reality as we know it today. And this is part two of that sub series on the mountain of God. But overall, we're in episode 9. And what I am going to share with you today will determine the amount of power and effectiveness that your leadership in your life will have in the future. Your dreams may be valid, but without the intelligence that I'm about to present, you may not be able to achieve those dreams. This is 2025, and in order to know where we are now and to be prepared for the months and years that are ahead of us and the world shaking events that these months and years are pregnant with, and in order to understand God's plan for your life, for mankind, in our generation, regardless of modern life or postmodern life, as some people say, we must first know the mountain of God. Why this research? Why this high and lofty search into this mountain? Is it abstract? Is it not? Why should we even know God? Now, life is full of the evidences of our fragility, our susceptibility to danger. And once you turn on the TV, tune to the news, scroll on Insta, look at Twitter, you will see in there and all around us the plunging decline that is obvious. The fact that we need to eat to live, the fact that we need to even have blood to live, the language and programming in the DNA, the presence of fractals in all of creation and at all dimensions. There is so much that we see and so much yet that we don't know. And all around us, the evidence exists. Man's current state is falling. And it is so fallen that we cannot comprehend the extent of our progressive loss. Mankind experiences life and yet cannot explain where life came from or what is the meaning of life. People want to create facts rather than accept facts as life presents them. And in the quest to create these facts, to fill that knowledge gap, to feel that knowledge hunger that is inherent in all men, the world discovers some things. And soon after, in the euphoria of our discovery, we forget that we didn't make those things, we simply found them. And the drunkenness and the stupor of that euphoria, mankind celebrates humanity to the point of worship. This is why, at the height of theories like evolution, you see mankind turning around in the confusion of his illogic and declaring that there's no God. Another man, even bolder, declares himself to be his own God and self worships. And one thing you must know, and one thing that is clear in the history of mankind, is that it clearly shows us that the only big bang in creation was the sound of the fall of man from glory, the fall of man from the mountain of God. We will see and understand as we progress that all creation and all life and living flow from a reality and can only be adjusted by that reality. Civilizations are the products of certain realities, and realities are unseen, but their effects are observable. We can see their effects, we can experience their effects. For example, you cannot see thoughts, you cannot see language, you cannot see sound, yet culture and law were formed by some intelligences. They were formed from language and sound and thoughts. Our ancestors passed these thoughts and sounds using stories and songs, with wind and percussion and stringed instruments. And today we have what we call culture, what we call law and rule of law, and all of that stuff. We're going to see that the mountain of God is the very environment of God, a place of the highest expression of the reality of God and of his things. The life and manifestation of God are at full blast on the mountain of God. The mountain of God is the location of the heart and center of God's authority and sovereignty in all of creation, in all of creation. The mountain of God is the highest place in the universe, and God himself is the highest point in that mountain. Not that God is at the highest point. God himself is the highest point in that mountain. Now, follow me. The mountain of God exists and is expressed in many dimensions, just like some media content can exist on a device and then can be copied or transferred to other devices or projected onto a screen, even wirelessly, just as the mathematical ratio of 3.142, also known as pi, exists in the shape and the design of plants and animals and celestial bodies. I'm talking about stars and planets and abstract things or inanimate things. All these things contain this reality, okay? That is the ratio, the mathematical ratio of 3.142. But we see that reality play out in all these different dimensions, some living, some non-living, and they play out as design, as structure, as space and distance and matter. Okay? I am saying all of that to say this, that reality matters and position matters. There is up, there is down. There is heaven and there is hell. There is light and there is darkness. And at the apex, whether top or bottom of any position that you find in creation, you will find the ruling personality who influences the form of existence that is flowing from that position. So, in the next episode, we will discuss the places or projections on the mountain of God. We'll be able to go deeper into the reality of the mountain of God. And so we will more easily identify when and where the mountain of God is projected, the realities that manifest in the mountain of God, and how we, you and I, can tap into those realities. I'll see you in the next video. God bless you.